Hi, I'm Kate. Welcome to Blooms in the Yard. Today I'm sharing a design plan for my mom's townhome. It is maintenance provided, and so she just has a couple of beds that things had died over the years, or maybe just when she moved in, they were blank. And so even though they do mow the lawn and trim things up, I've noticed that sometimes in these maintenance provided communities, when things die, they're not necessarily replaced. And so today I'm going to be sharing the design that I came up with for her. When I do design for other people, I really make it a priority to choose the easiest plants that I know. So I always like to choose drought tolerant, heat tolerant plants, things that don't need a ton of attention, and even things that don't need a ton of pruning. But that's for my garden, and then when I design for other people's gardens, I take that even further. Like, I'm going to choose the absolute easiest plants, the plants that bloom the most, because I know that's what everybody wants. And so just kind of choosing like the best of the best for our area. So like I said, they do mow and maintain, but a downside to them mowing can be that sometimes they mow down things that you don't want them to. So they've actually removed or mowed down an Arborvitae already that we planted, and they've damaged some limelight hydrangeas that are there, and I believe they mowed down an Annabelle hydrangea. So I'm going to try to deal with that problem a little bit by widening the beds, and there are just a few other challenges in her landscape that we are going to try to deal with. There are 3 areas that I'm going to be looking at today and making a new design for. All these areas are pretty much full sun, and of course I'm going for low maintenance and drought tolerant as much as possible. The first area I want to look at is this grassy area between the townhouse and the main street behind the townhouse. She knew when she bought this house that the street behind was going to be widened, and the construction is actually going to make this street more of a main thoroughfare. The traffic is going to be increasing quite a bit after this construction project. So her first priority when she moved in, this was in 2023, was to put plants in this gap between her house and the street. So we just went to a box store. This was in late fall. Everything was on sale, and we just kind of took what was available at that time. We got 3 Arborvitaes, which you can see here on the right side. We got 3 limelight hydrangeas on the left side, and a purple plum tree, which we planted a little bit behind those limelights. To the right of that and behind is a maple tree, and in the very back we put a rose of Sharon, just further screening. There wasn't really a plan. I just kind of bought what I thought would work, what was available. I didn't do a lot of prep work in the area. I just dug holes in the grass and flipped the sod over to cover other areas of grass. And then she came back in and mulched it. It was getting cold. We were kind of running out of time. I think this was in late October or November. So that is what we did in 2023. One of the things I would like to do now is to extend the mulched area to hopefully better protect the plants from being mowed. That's also less for the maintenance team to have to worry about, so hopefully it'll be a win-win. Here's what the area looked like this fall, 2 years later. The purple plum is doing really well. The maple's doing okay, but I think it will do even better when we extend that bed and the tree will no longer be competing with the grass. The Arborvitaes, I think, are doing quite well. She did say that the sprinkler system was damaged in this area this fall. This whole area didn't get water for a month or 2. So I think that is why the limelights look not great here, but I think they'll be okay. And again, they're going to benefit from expanding the bed so that the mowers no longer damage them. So when I came back this year, my goal was to further fill in this area. As you can see, the electric box is kind of front and center. So I suggested putting a blue point juniper there to hide that from the back patio. As you can see, the maple and the rose of Sharon were not included in the large bed. At the time I was thinking I was not able to dig up all the grass today I'm just thinking, why didn't we just put down cardboard and mulch, right? We should have done that years ago. And so that is what I told her to do this fall, is to put down cardboard and mulch. And so we just have one big bed. Because right now they're having to mow between the Rose of Sharon and the maple and all of that, and there's no need for them to be doing that. And it's way better for your plants to not be growing in the grass, because then they're competing for water and nutrients with the grass. I did add a second Blue Point juniper in the back to the left, and then I put in this plan a sea green juniper behind the maple. Hopefully the maple will get big, and so that will give us the vertical screening, but just to have something more ground level, I suggested a sea green juniper, which they can get quite large. I think they'll get 4 or 5 feet tall, but then they can get 8 feet wide. And then there is a gap between the maple and the arborvitaes that was grass, now will be part of the bed, so I suggested a shorter crepe myrtle in that area. It may get shaded out eventually and need to be moved, but for now it's still got a lot of sun in that area. I saw this Velma's Royal Delight crepe myrtle at a local Master Gardener demonstration garden, and Velma was my grandma's name, my mom's mom, and so I've been wanting to order one for me, and I found them on crepemyrtle.com, and so I thought when I order one for myself, I'll go ahead and order 1 or 2 for her. Here's the blueprint for this area. The 3 new plants that I'm going to be adding would be the 2 Blue Point juniper, the 1 or 2 crepe myrtle, and the sea green juniper in the back. You can also see that I have connected the bed to the existing large evergreen on the left. I was planning on her doing iris in front of those arborvitaes. Let's look at the next spot that we're going to work on. Here's what this area looked like when she first moved in. The first priority was to build a small fence because they have a very tiny little Chihuahua / wiener dog, and so they just needed a really small space that they could let their dog outside without having to put him on the leash. It's a really tiny area, and then she wanted to have a tiny spot of grass, but she did want to do a little bit of planting. Up to this point, this area has been sort of her little fairy garden, and she'll put some annuals in here. So I was just thinking it would be less maintenance for her to have some perennials and some smaller shrubs so that she wouldn't have to keep up with those annuals all the time. I was really wanting to choose things that would look good for most of the season. I decided I would go ahead and use 2 of my tried and true plants, and those are the Rose Marvel Salvia and the Cherry Mocha Barista Crepe Myrtle. Both of those bloom for a long time and look good for the whole growing season. And I know that they're low maintenance. The Rose Marvel Salvia blooms for a really long time, and the crepe myrtles have really good, healthy looking foliage. It's kind of interesting and reddish looking and glossy leaves, and also blooms for quite a while. I've gone on and on about both of these. The crepe myrtle, if you look at some of my, maybe my August garden tour, I think that was looking really good. And the Rose Marvel Salvia, I feel like I've gone on and on about that too. So just, they're both wonderful and absolutely worth growing. To give her some evergreen interest, I went with a tall boxwood. Options would be Graham Blandy, D. Runk, and those are both going to be a little more tall and skinny, or the Green Mountain, which is a little bit shorter and wider, and that is what I included in my photoshopped image here. I did want to keep the planting low in this area because this is the main window in her living room, and it is south facing, so a good source of light. We don't want to cover that up for her. To grow on this little trellis that is masking her AC unit, I suggested a clematis. I have a few personal favorites. One of those is the multi-blue clematis, which I think that the color with that would look really great with the crepe myrtle and the salvia that I have suggested. You can never have too many clematis. To the right of the AC unit, I put a gold thread spirea because I really like the bright foliage. Again, gonna look really great with the Rose Marvel Salvia. And I also put some Angelina sedum as a ground cover along this front edge for the same reason. I thought about doing a golden oregano, but I think she already had a little bit of that Angelina sedum, so I was like, we can just use that. Here is the blueprint for this area, and if you look closely, these capital D's I have dotted around are daffodil bulbs. I thought that this would be a perfect spot to add in some spring bulbs because the crepe myrtles come up pretty late here. And the salvia, is a perennial and will die back to the ground. So having something in early spring would be great. Just outside of the fence, my mom had asked me what she could do in this little corner. And of course, the first thing I said was, it's just not big enough to grow anything there. So it needs to be made bigger. This is south facing, and because it is just outside of the fence, it's probably going to get sort of ignored as far as watering goes. And so I thought that catmint would be a perfect option because it's very low maintenance and definitely doesn't need a lot of attention from us. The last area that we're going to look at is a strip of land sort of between her driveway and her neighbor's driveway. Actually, this is not in her yard, but it's been empty, and her neighbor gave her permission to plant some things here. There looks to be some sort of perennial tall grass on the left. I'm not super into grasses, so I can't tell you the name of that one. And then all the way on the right, I can't quite tell what that bush is. I don't remember if it's a burning bush or a boxwood or something. But like I said, this isn't actually her space, so we are not going to try to take anything out. We're just going to add in the blank spots. The three little tufts of grass on the right are pink muley grass, which my mom recently planted, and hopefully that will do well. So we're kind of planning on that pink muley grass being there. I wanted to start with a larger evergreen to really give them some privacy. Basically, the two porches can see right at each other. So this larger evergreen will give them both some privacy from each other. I chose a Spartan juniper because it doesn't get quite as wide as the Blue Point juniper that I put in the backyard. The Blue Point juniper will get 8 feet wide, and this area I think was about 5 feet wide. So the Spartan juniper should max out at 5 feet and should not encroach on the driveway on either side. And that Spartan juniper gets to be about 15 feet tall, so actually a little bit taller than the Blue Point juniper, which maxes out at about 12 feet. I did add another of the taller boxwood, the Green Mountain boxwood on the left. They're kind of in the back. It's more towards the neighbor's driveway. So we are looking at this from my mom's side. And this whole area is south facing. So this is the south wall of the neighbor's house. So full sun, and surrounded on both sides by the blacktop. That's just gonna really make that area all that much more hotter. The three small shrubs with bright colored foliage are candy corn spirea, which have bright foliage in early spring and then have nice blooms in late spring and early summer and can rebloom. Then I went with some really faithful perennials. This picture isn't going to completely represent this area truthfully because I do have here, I have the creeping phlox blooming at the same time as the sedum and the salvia. So not completely accurate because the creeping phlox, which is the purple ground cover in front, should bloom in April or May. And then the salvia, which is the fuchsia color, should bloom pretty consistently May through the last frost. And that is that same rose marble salvia that I put in by her back patio. And then the sedum will bloom in the fall, but of course these tall sedum look great all the time. The green looking sedum is the autumn joy, and then on the left, it's a little bit of a brighter sedum, is the brilliant sedum, which it's just a little bit brighter pink flower and a little bit lighter bright leaves. And those are some sedum, some tall sedum that I gave to her. So here is the blueprint for that area. You can see that I have the Spartan juniper and the tall boxwood. Those are the evergreens that will be the structure of the area. And then I have the sedum to the left, the pink muley grass on the right, and then in the front I have layered the perennial creeping phlox and rose marble salvia. When I was looking back at the pictures, I decided that we could probably use the catmint that you see here on either side of the juniper. So those are the 3 beds that I designed for her this fall, and she's just, now that she has the plan, she can work on them as time allows. So basically, whenever I would design something, it's probably going to be different if I did it this month or next month or 3 months from now. It's always going to be a little bit different. If something's doing really well in my garden right now and you ask me to do a garden plan for you, it might end up in your garden just because I'm loving it right now. I also feel like my designs are really fluid. Like when we go to buy these plants, if they're out of something and they have something really similar, we might end up going with a slightly different thing. Or when we go to plant it all, I notice, oh, there's kind of a hole right there by that boxwood, by the back patio. I might end up sticking like a bee balm there that wasn't in the original plan. So I do feel like it's like this, it's a process. It's not like, here's the done product and this is exactly how it's going to end up in the end. It really won't. Especially with me and my garden, because I mean, I could make a plan and then a month later I'll look at the plan and change it all up. And then a month later I'll go buy the plants and change it again. And then as I'm planting, I end up moving things around and changing it again. So for me, it's very much a process. So it's kind of fun that it is my mom and that I probably will be involved in some of the shopping and some of the planting and helping her out. And I kind of like that because I can kind of control how things evolve in these areas. She has an area right by her front sidewalk that I did not do an official plan for. I had planted a few things there a year or 2 ago, and the area is looking pretty decent. It's got some nice color, it's got some good things blooming, but it's definitely not perfect. It's still got some gaps. So probably sometime this spring, I'll go over there and fill that in and kind of spruce it up. But I didn't do an official plan. So that's just to kind of pique your curiosity. That will probably be a spring project. I hope that you enjoyed taking a look at these areas with me. I really enjoy doing Photoshop because it helps me to picture it and it helps my clients to picture it. It's really fun doing this design for my mom because I'm happy to help her out and I love being a part of the process with her. So she's been watching a lot of my videos and getting inspired to do more gardening. So it's just super fun all around. Thanks for watching. I hope that you have a blessed day and don't lose hope. Spring's coming soon.